Okay, I'm going to 100% prove and explain to you how the Mandela Effect works.
Where is the mob today?
It's not what it was in the 70s.
It's richer now than ever.
Did anybody hear about the deadly plane crash that happened in Maine on Sunday?
Hey, Segovia, back with another one. Hope everyone out there is having a good day, y'all. We got a good one coming up today. We got some cloning, we got some Mandela Effect, we got some plane crashes, we got some gambling. We got a lot coming up in today's video, y'all. Let's have some fun. Make sure you guys watch from start to finish. Like I always say, that really helps the channel grow more than anything, y'all. But with that being said, let's do what we came here for. Let's get into the video. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
打投资麻将，来报警啊！我们现在是录视频报警了，麻将全投资麻将，看投资麻将，每个人都看到啊，证据在这里摆在这里，还有一个，全部都是投资麻将。打铃了，来，全部看一下啊！报警！来，全部投资麻将。
Bruno Mars.
Bro,
Have you met him?
I didn't meet him, no. But I know the story. I was there when it happened. I had told the story about Bruno Mars, like 2 years ago, and nobody said nothing about it. And then all of a sudden now it's viral.
Yeah.
Yes, it happened. I know there's MGM just made a statement that it's not true. I'm going to tell you from the mouth of Babe, it happened. I was present during the circumstances. He lost 53 million or 52 million, accurate. And then he had to sign a deal to them. He goes, so it's a marker. He goes, I can't pay you guys. I can't pay you back this marker. They go, we got to figure it out. So what he did was he signed a deal. He would do all their shows for them so they can get their money back. So if you just look, he's their poster child. He's
my daughters went to the show. It's one of the most amazing shows I've ever seen in their entire life.
Well, it costed MGM $52 million, so it better be a good show.
I heard
nobody come. Did they? Whatever happened with the director who passed?
Which one, Rob Reiner?
Yeah, what happened? I don't understand what happened.
He actually did a part in that old movie, Dickie Roberts. I did. He was a cool dude. His kid broke in, stabbed him and his wife. So the kid broke in, stabbed his mom and dad.
Why?
The kid was a little drugged up, a little gacked out. Or he had a history of it. I don't know if he was for sure, but I heard he did this too, which is just not the way to go. Yeah. Brutal. So it's very, crazy. Everyone that I know probably worked with him or knew him, and he was at Conan.
We're going back on the dark web. Grab the burner laptop. If you're curious about what the dark web actually looks like, drop me a follow. Let's start our amnesiac operating system. Then we're going to hit up Tor browser. Tor browser routes your connection through 3 different relays and allows you to look at onion links. First, we're going to connect. Let it load for a minute. It takes a long time. Now we can start it up. I highly recommend to not do this, but if you're going to, please disable JavaScript. This is how you do it. There's a little security level icon up here. You're going to click that. Then your settings are going to go to your security level and change it to the safest. This will make it so you don't see something that you don't want to. And here's a pretty cool website that I found called Comic Book Library. A lot of people use the dark web to download free books, but you shouldn't do that. Anyways, this comic book library site has 4,131 total comics on it. And you can go through and find a comic book that you want to read. I just found Chuck Norris #1, Karate Commandos. But yeah, and then somebody would download this for free. But don't do that, guys. Funnel all of your money into corporations. This is kind of cool. It also has a random feature, and if you click it, it'll just give you a random comic book. Here's Zap Comics #1. Never heard of this before.
Only Olmec knows the legend behind each of the treasures in his temple.
Okay, let's just listen to that name again.
The legend of the collar of...
They're gonna have to pass some pretty tough physical and mental tests, and in the end, only one team will earn the right to enter Olmec's temple. Are you ready, Olmec?
Rock is ready to roll.
On your mark.
Okay, so this is The Legend of the Hidden Temple, the kids' game show on Nickelodeon. Pure nostalgia, right? I saw a recent video around it, and what I saw was quite shocking. I was listening to the name of the godhead. They kept mentioning Amalek, and I paused because that name sounds uncomfortably close to something else. Molech, a name that comes up in a lot of ancient texts. Symbolism, often claimed as a myth, and often associated with sacrifice of a certain category of people. Now, was it intentional? Who really knows? But it's interesting because kids' shows don't pick names randomly. And when you start noticing how often certain symbols, names and themes repeat, is it a coincidence? Maybe. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below.
Do you know that Coca-Cola, the nation of people who drink the most Coca-Cola are Mexicans, #1?
Really?
Yeah, and that Coca-Cola has a palate resetting formula to it. The flavor of cola, you sip cola, it fills your taste buds, and then it dissipates very quickly. So each bite of your hamburger, each bite of your pizza tastes like the first bite you've had. And that's why Coca-Cola goes so well with food. Even if you prefer Fanta, you never want to have an orange flavor in your mouth whilst you're eating food. But Coca-Cola is meant for food. And Dr. Pepper works as well because one of the 23 ingredients is cola. If you have cola in things, that is meant for food.
Does that apply to diet?
Yes. So next time you eat something, then take a sip of Coca-Cola, feel your palate reset, and then start again. It's a game changer.
Wow,
You'll never want to have a meal without Coca-Cola again.
I grew up with the movie Holes,
Yeah.
and I just wanted to know, you've done a lot of movies, a lot of serious movies, a lot of really cool movies. Did you like doing Holes?
No.
Or did you just do it because you were a kid?
No, Holes was horrible. Holes was, we were in this place called Ridgecrest, California. We were all really young. We were all excited. You know, I had just come off some TV shows. So my first, like, real job. It's like Disney Channel took me, we won an Emmy on this channel thing. And then it became like a big deal because they hadn't had any of those. And they pushed us over to the main Disney, but I had built like a family, like a tribe of people I was kicking it with. They all disappeared. So now you got this new tribe. And, then John Voight's like walking around in character. And I'd never been around somebody like that who doesn't break, you know? And he's spitting these sunflower seeds around. He's like mean. And I'm going, nah, this isn't going to work. And my dad is, my dad is my dad. And he didn't know nothing about that either. So him and my dad had to have a whole thing. Oh boy. And then, cause my dad's not diplomatic, you know, at this point, he's only 4 years out of prison. And John Voight's playing these games. My dad don't care, you know? So then John had to check my dad, which was healthy for my family. A lot went on there. But also my dad was hitting on Sigourney Weaver all the time. And that didn't work. And then he was 150 degrees in the hole. So you could only be in the hole for 5-minute windows per the Screen Actors Guild. So they had a rep sitting out there with a stopwatch. So you do these takes, and they'd be like, 5 minutes, and we'd have to jump out the hole even if we were in the middle of the take. And there was one time we were this will be the last thing I say. I know you got the countdown. No. Okay, cool. There was this kid who used to have a toothpick in his mouth all the time. Kid Jake. And, we all had like these half trailers, and I was in the half trailer with him. And I was sitting in my trailer one time with my dad, we're playing gin rummy, and I hear this huge bang, and the whole thing rocks. And I walk outside, and this dude has flown out of his side of the trailer, and the whole wall of the trailer has blown out. He's not just out of it, the whole wall is blown out of the trailer. And it's because the refrigeration unit, it was so hot in Ridgecrest that the there was like an oxygen bomb that went off in this refrigerator and blew this kid across the desert. So it was like a pretty intense shoot. I don't know if you could shoot something like that on like Netflix now, you know? They wouldn't let you put a kid. There's stuff you could do then you can't do now, you know? I'm like of this old generation of Hollywood where like, I've been in this for a minute. Since I'm 8, 10, something like that. I'm 20, I'm 38 now. That's a long time, you know? So now they have these hand warmers you can shake up. You see them in camping stores all the time. Now, when we used to get cold on sets back in the day, we used to take Polaroid packs because you take a lot of Polaroids on this before the iPhone. You used to take Polaroids all the time for continuity to make sure that the clothes stay the same for each time.
Shaw.
You used to have huge tubs of Polaroid packs, empty Polaroid packs. Now, every one of those Polaroid packs has a battery pack in it. Every one of those battery packs is a hand warmer. So one of the things we used to do is we'd take these battery packs, all the kids on Even Stevens, and one of the fun things we do is we'd take these battery packs, rip them apart like MacGyver, and then do the positive negative charge till it got warm. Have all this radiation in our hands. So we used to radiate ourselves. Anyway, fun tidbit.
How did they miss this in Men in Black? All right, Men in Black. We're at 1 hour, 15 minutes, and 57 seconds. We're in the end of a movie when the final threat's happening, and they're all worried, and they're trying to type on their little computers, and that's the issue. Watch this mistake. Now, I need you guys to clarify. This could be a mistake, or it could be alien tech. That's what you guys are going to say, so I'm going to leave it to you guys. Are you ready? Here we go. Keep an eye on this right here. Look at his hands. What is he typing? What is he typing? It goes on for so long. What is he typing? And you could be like, oh, but that's just alien tech. He's typing. This guy's typing normally. So it's completely different. He's just wiggling his fingers above it. He's typing normally. He's just It could be. Was he playing the piano? Like, what's going on?
Alien tech, bro.
Hey, everyone's just gonna say alien tech. I think it's a mistake. It's funny though. Follow us for more.
The real Men in Black, they work for the Air Force Special Operations Group out of Fort Belvoir, and they are the real Men in Black. These are special intelligence officers, specially trained. In fact, there's a special unit within the Air Force Intelligence Service. It's called Section K, and these men and women are sheep-dipped. And sheep-dipped means that they're military, they discharge them from the military, they make them civilians, and they bring them right back into their same job. The reason they do this is because they don't have to follow the military protocols, the dress and grooming standards, and they can operate freely, more freely, outside the military channels.
Tell us a little about their history and how they first appeared.
Back in the 1950s, when the Project Blue Book was occurring, there was investigations going on both overtly and covertly within the intelligence service. Most of the overt investigations were done by Air Force intelligence officers, one of them being my uncle, Edward Doty. And they would go out and ask questions, collecting overt information about UFO sightings. And then there was a secretive part of the Air Force Intelligence Service. The Air Force Intelligence Service had field operating units, and they started in the 50s, and they're even more prevalent even today.
What was their main agenda, and who did they actually, work for, or was it multiple three-letter agencies?
Their mission was to go out and collect the secret stuff, the secret information about UFO sightings or a UFO incident that occurred, to collect photographs or debris, or get statements from people, examine the area where a UFO was sighted or landed, collecting evidence that's on the ground. And this was all covertly. So in order to covertly collect, they had to have disguises. And these guys were experts in disguises. Some of them were acting as plumbers, air conditioning repair people, telephone repair people outside a normal chain. They could easily talk to people. For instance, one incident that happened in Watertown, New York. These MIBs came out as electricians because of an incident that happened west of the community of Watertown, New York, in upstate New York. And this was in the 60s. The Project Blue Book investigators had already been there and collected information. But the two people that actually saw this UFO and took pictures, they wouldn't share anything with the Air Force investigators. So the Air Force sent in these two men who were posing as electricians, but they were the Men in Black. And although they weren't dressed in black, they were acting as this covert operating team. And they were able to talk to these people in a normal, everyday contact and ask them, hey, did you see something last week? Was there some kind of a UFO incident? Well, these people opened up to these two, and they obtained the photographs that the Air Force wanted.
At what point in a mission do they actually show up?
They come later. They come after the initial investigative team arrives. Either Project Blue Book investigators, or after that, the investigators that arrived on scene to collect the evidence or interview the witnesses to this. And then, depending on what information that the initial investigative team obtains, then the MIBs come in. Now, the story is that the MIBs are always there at every scene or every incident, and that's not true. These guys come in on legitimate sightings. They come in and get the real important stuff that the initial investigative team didn't get.
You guys know, man, they just go there like, hey, I just did your neighbor's house, and they were telling me some crazy story about some UFOs. Did you guys see that? Oh, you got pictures? Damn, let me see. That's crazy. It's how smart they are, y'all. Like, they'll open up to everyday electrician, but won't open up to like law enforcement that comes, which is okay, right? But they know how to get you. They're very smart.
He has that podcast with like alien disclosure, UFO disclosure. He knows like everything. And he was being interviewed and he's like, UFOs are real. They've been here for a very long time. And the US government has known about it. What you don't know is that there is
Never
going
know
to
who's
be
coming
a
to your front
giant
door to do
lie
work,
that
y'all.
they
That's
want
crazy.
you to believe in. The lie is going to be that there is going to be a giant craft slowly headed towards Earth, that it will arrive in 2027. What? And it's a lie. So what does that mean?
Dude, that's scary. Because we're literally celebrating our 250th year in 2027. When all this stuff is happening, and you're like, this is going to be a game changer.
Thailand is truly a playground for everybody. You want to break a law? People go to Thailand to do that. You want to hide money? Go to Thailand. You want to party like crazy? Go to Thailand. Not many people realize this. Thailand is the only country in Southeast Asia that was never colonized. How is a country in the center of Southeast Asia with trade routes on both sides and massive coastline, how does that place go without getting colonized?
There's a reason why it didn't.
Because it learned very early on that it could negotiate with everyone. So it basically made it so anybody could do anything in Thailand. How would you define Thailand right now? Anybody can do anything. So that's what makes Thailand dangerous. It's a playground for everybody. So you might go there to have innocent fun. That doesn't mean everybody else is there to have innocent fun. And then on top of that, Thailand is so strategically valuable that every foreign intel service in the world is there. They're like Washington, D.C., right?
I never.
Exactly.
Never thought millionaires that I think that just makes sense.
While you're all freaking out about Minnesota and all the wacky shit going on in the United States, you may not have realized this yet, but there was a 2.5-mile section of cliff in a city in Sicily that collapsed on over 100 houses with people still inside. Over 100 homes were destroyed. And if you watch the news, you don't see this stuff on the American news because all they talk about is Minnesota, election fraud, yada, 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 yada. BS, BS, BS. But if you actually watch the real news, you will find out that there's other things going on in the world that are very serious. But yeah, a 2.5-mile section of fucking cliff collapsed into this city and took out over 100 homes. I'm not sure about if there was death toll. From what I've been hearing, there hasn't been any deaths yet, but yeah. Major destruction, natural disaster in Sicily today. 100 homes gone. If you check it out, Sicilian landslide. Check it out on the news. It's all over the news, but you won't find that on the regular news unless you search for it. That's America for you. They don't talk about the real shit going on. They only talk about BS like Somalian daycares and all that are bullshit. But yeah, check it out.
No, I just saw today scrolling on TikTok looking for clips that they were having a memorial for that dude that got shot in Minnesota, right? And like across the country over here, and there's people out there with candles, and I'm like, what is the mindset? Like they are so in tune with that side of the algorithm, y'all. Like I said, if you guys want to start exercising, just start watching exercise videos and you'll be exercising within 2 or 3 days. Guarantee. You want to start walking, you want to start learning how to build with wood, you want to start doing anything. If you focus your algorithm on that, that's what you're going to start doing. So that's what their algorithm is so fixed on, is these things going on in Minnesota that across the country, they're having a candlelit vigil for this guy that they don't even know. And people are out there with candlelights and signs, and like the where people focus their energy is just so crazy, y'all. Like so crazy.
Federal Reserve is built off of debt. And like we go back, they said like it's only like 3% of actual physical currency in existence. Everything else is make believe. It's an illusion. It's all debt.
I don't get jealous of other girls because I was raised in a cloning lab to be the perfect woman for Hugh M. Hefner. So other than the fact that my IQ is probably a little higher than he would like, I have nothing to worry about.
Is it a clone or not? No, now you know going about cloning. Cloning techniques, since 1938, they've been making clone people. There's 8 countries making clones. I have a doctor friend that all it does is treat the clones. Where do you get your information? I get it from some of the people that are willing to come forth, and they talk to me because they hope I'll put the information out because they always got 2 people following them and they may be killed. If I start talking about cloning too much, the people that get involved into that you disappear on it. So I don't go into too many more details.
All I have left are the clothes on my back and the clothes in my freezer. 43 is missing again. To replace my beloved hounds with teacup poodles.
What's over there hidden in our Antarctica?
We have a TV series on our network called The Secrets of Antarctica.
Yeah.
And the host is Brad Olson. And the reason why he's the host is because he actually went there. I've known Brad for years. He's been on a lot of different TV shows on major networks. He's been on Gaia TV, History Channel, and everything else. And now he's on my TV network, Forbidden Knowledge TV. He went there and got his own footage. It's hard to get to Antarctica. It took months to get to Antarctica because of all the things you have to go through to get to that region. And it's a really tough trip, tough on the body.
Would you go?
I would go. Oh yeah, I'm an explorer, so I'd go. He got there and then he had to be granted access to the area. It's a no war zone, even though it's protected by military, but it's protected. There's a lot of research facilities there. Now, these research facilities represent different nations of the world. The only one that's not from a nation is the Rockefeller Foundation Research Facility, which is there. And now close to this all these research tents, not really tents, but these like fabricated, research laboratories, there's a huge opening about 30 meters wide. And whatever they're studying is in that hole, which is crazy. Buzz Aldrin went down there at the time that Obama was in office. And he was down there because all these leaders of the world had gone down there as well at this one particular time, almost like it was a summit. Buzz put out a tweet. And in this tweet, he says, the people down here are evil, or something to the effect of, we're facing the ultimate evil down here. And he tweeted that out. And then that tweet went viral, as you can imagine. And then I think a day later he deleted it, but by then it was too late. It had made the news, and TMZ and everybody else had a copy of the tweet by then.
Hold on. So hold
go
that.
ahead.
I want you to keep that thought.
Yeah.
When he said these people are evil, was he talking about the people doing the research or the people inside the cave?
To me, he was alluding to the people inside that cave or that hole in the ice. And why do I say people? We know that the Nazis had built a base there. They called it New Schwabenland. And that according to some of the text and information was left behind by Project Paperclip and other things, other research that we've done by sending our own Navy vessels down there to see what was going on down there in that base, they discovered that there were supposedly flying vehicles that can go from pole to pole. And one of the quotes from one of the generals was that we have a new enemy that can fly from pole to pole at high speeds. And one of their Navy vessels was actually attacked and destroyed on this mission. And so we're seeing this connection from the 1930s all the way to now the 2000s, that there's something going on out there that has to do with something bad. It ain't good.
He don't fuck with me because I call him out on his shit. How the hell, at the time, Shaq was the most dominant athlete on earth. A man that size to be able to do a lot of the shit he did, making $19 million a year, and that was a lot of money back then. How the hell is this motherfucker making 25, 26 million in a year, and you're not sacrificing nothing? This dude out there sacrificing his body, might have a bad will today because of it, but how is you making more money than him? And then that's when I started to look more. Well, he can set his own salary long as the owners agreed to it. That's what happened. 30 mil, 30 mil, 32 mil. But what you doing? He don't fuck with me.
See, it's like, don't make you famous while you make them rich, right? But who's his boss? Who's writing his checks of 32 million? Is it the owners? Because there's a lot of like billionaires that are the owners. Are they the ones paying him? Who's the ones paying them? Right? Those are the people you don't see. Because the owners we look at them like, damn, they got a lot of money. They're billionaires. Well, who are the ones that are paying them? Right? Or are they the creators of all their businesses and they make somebody's writing their checks, y'all. Who's writing their checks?
They AI filtered the guy to make him look more good looking so people would be more likely to feel sorry for him. Look at this. This is insane. They literally changed this guy's head. Oh my God.
When you have BlackRock that will buy a home in a neighborhood for $300,000 and sell it to themselves for $700,000, they're artificially causing inflation and making the house purchases unviable. for the average young person. I'm talking 30 and under. And in their 30s, for crying out loud, who are still living with their parents. They also are getting tax credits for this purchase, and they're getting loans for exceedingly, a better deal than young people can. So if we need to have some regulation, and that's why with the president, does not traditionally like to get involved with regulations, but in this situation, it has to happen because I believe there's a monopoly going in place.
All right, we're going to melt down this plastic snow, and we are going to get the lab results. Make sure you guys stick around to the end to see what is actually going on with the snow that is falling from the sky. Just going to load it up here as much as possible.
Once you dump the...
Fucking feels weird, too. It doesn't feel like snow, to be honest with you. Like, I know what snow feels like. I've been playing in it since I was a kid. But yeah, let's see.
Does look powdery, huh?
Seems to be melting fairly good. I don't know if I see any water yet, but it's definitely going down.
Once you boil it and melt it down, doesn't it
Curious
kill
what
a
it's gonna
lot of
look
the
like here shortly, guys.
stuff in there, or no?
Things are definitely starting to happen here. We're seeing a little bit of water.
A lot of evaporation happening.
We'll see what happens. All right, so it is liquid now. So what I want to do is just bring this to a boil and let it simmer, and then just get all the water out and see what remains at the bottom of this pot, like what we can kind of scrape up and what we can send in. All right, we are boiling the absolute snot out of this snow, so I'm very, very curious of what's going to remain at the bottom, if anything at all. I'm sure there will be some things that we can scrape up and send in, but we'll see. All right, we're almost there. We can see some
plants and
black stuff in here.
Dirt.
Which is kind of interesting. I don't know what that is. A lot of people talk about nanoparticles and all this stuff coming from chemtrails. Who knows? Who knows? But let's see what happens. All right, it is completely evaporated, and there is some residue at the bottom that we're going to scrape up now. And this residue is just caked to the bottom, so stay tuned. I'm going to try to scrape it later. And
You remember on the news when they would say like violence in video games?
Why even make a video? Why even make a video? I'm gonna leave that in there, y'all, because like I say, I watched the first like 5 seconds of this clip. We're gonna get some water. We're gonna send it into a lab. So I'm like, okay, I like where this is going. And then he's like, we're gonna scrape it later and stay tuned. Nothing comes from it.
People to like do crazy stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, they always refer to this one case about Daniel Petrick. Have you heard of it?
No.
So Daniel Petrick was just this normal 16-year-old that lived in Ohio, right? But one day he had a snowboarding accident. He would get a staph infection and he'd be house ridden for like 6 to 7 months, right?
Oh my God.
But he spent his time, playing video games, and he was introduced to this video game called Halo by his friend, and they would play it for like 6 to 7 hours a day, every day. But his dad was like super strict, and he didn't want him playing video games all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So in secret, he bought the copy of Halo and he would play it. But one day his dad caught him playing and took it. I guess this triggered something for Daniel, because when his dad confiscated it from him, he put it in a safe, and in that safe he had a 9mm gun. So on October 20th, 2007, that's when Daniel would find the key to the safe. But he would not just grab the copy of Halo back, but he would also grab the gun. He would sneak up behind his parents, Mark and Susan, with the gun, and then he would say something. He would say, "Would you close your eyes? I have a surprise for you."
Oh my gosh,
and he would fire multiple shots at them. But to Daniel's surprise, his sister would show up 2 hours early to the house, and he told them, "My parents are fighting, please don't come in." But they would still come in, and then that's when Daniel would escape, and he would take the family van and get out of there.
What?
Police would later capture him. But the craziest part is that the dad actually survived. And you would see in the trial, like, Daniel's crying, right? But the dad is there on his side supporting him.
Yeah.
And the dad would say Daniel messed up, but he regretted what he did, right? But the prosecution argued that Daniel actually kind of planned this out. There was a psychological report that Daniel had told the psychologist that he actually planned this like a week in advance to kill his parents.
Wow.
But Daniel's defense was that it was out of insanity, and that the video game addiction that he had and playing Halo made him like alter his mind and wasn't in the right state of mind when he did it.
That's insane.
But it didn't work, and he got life in prison, and he's up for parole in 2030.
What's that like when the CIA walks into your office unannounced?
You think it's a joke.
Wow.
Right? I mean, I literally looked around, my office is, on the 3rd floor, and there's there's a bridge between two buildings. And I thought, okay, there's a candid camera here somewhere. What's going on? This is a joke. Because not only had they mentioned this, but then they also mentioned that some of these, a very small subset of these individuals that claim to have interactions with UFOs. And my brain exploded.
That's one of the things that Putin said. Like when he talked about, like, he's been through 3 different presidents. Like, everybody has these big ideas until they get into office. Then once they get into office, they all do the same thing. Exactly. They all do the same thing, and they follow the orders. He said men in dark suits come and visit them. They're like mine. They're wearing a suit like mine. They come in, they tell them how things are run. And that's the reality of being an American
Callan
president.
don't believe that, though.
I think that...
That's too conspiratorial.
People fake their own deaths and move here. Others are on the run from the police, debt, taxes, and some people just want to live off the grid. With hundreds of people going missing and murderers on the loose, the community somehow grows in population every year. We're talking no laws, no running water, and no police.
They banned Huawei phones. They were the most sophisticated phones. They were coming out of China. I tried to buy a Porsche design Huawei phone. It was an amazing phone. So much more advanced than iPhone, bigger battery, 100 megapixel camera. And then right before it was coming out, they put the ban. They figured out there's like backdoor possibilities. Huawei is like spying on Americans.
That's what they always say, right? That's what they said about TikTok. That's what they said about TikTok. Now the Chinese ain't spying on us. The Americans are spying on us. The J-ish people are spying on us. They can do it. It's okay if they do it. But anything Chinese, we can't have that over here. But he can come here. He can come to San Francisco. We'll change our streets, put flags, Chinese flags all down San Francisco Boulevard, clean it up, get rid of the bums for them. But you can't have their phones. The people can't have their phones. But we can have lunch with the president, right? We can make money with them. But you guys can't. Politics, y'all. Politics.
Walmart's putting plastic in their great value food.
Not sure who needs to hear this, but any great value sugar that you've bought within the last week, I'm assuming, has plastic in it. And I'll show you. I'll show you because I've done an experiment. I have taken 1.5 cups of sugar and rinsed it in my strainer. Let me show you.
This is crazy.
So, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna clean my strainer out so there's nothing in it. Empty. Okay. Nothing but water in the measuring cup. And the sugar that I bought from Walmart on Sunday. We're gonna put the sugar in this. And then we're gonna rinse it so that way all the sugar that's actually sugar dissolves. So hot water.
This is crazy. What?
Dude, what the heck? This is not okay. This is not okay. So, all the sugar's out. You hear that? This is the stuff that did not melt under hot water. It does not break. It does not dissolve. And there's a lot of it. That was a 1/2 cup of sugar.
What in the world?
How do you know
That
that's plastic?
it's not sticky. It's like silica bead or plastic or who knows what.
I don't eat sugar
But
like
that is
that.
not sugar.
Y'all are
This is
eating
what
sugar.
happens when protections are
No,
rolled
for
back on
real.
food.
I will. I mean, we grew up with a cup of sugar and Kool-Aid, right? Or a cup of sugar and tea. But who's still doing that in 2020? What are we in 2026? Who's still doing that? Who's still getting sugar? I don't even have a pack of sugar in my house. We might have like some stevia little packets that my lady likes in her coffee. But, you know, we don't like, do people still do that and put 2 cups of sugar in Kool-Aid and stuff? Like, that's from the 90s, y'all, and before that.
Ever let my little girl wear polyester again. And when you see why, you won't let your family wear it either. Most people think polyester is just fabric. It's not. It's literally plastic. Here's how it's made. They start with crude oil or discard plastic bottles. They break it down, they melt it at extremely high heat, and they turn it into this thick, sticky liquid. That liquid gets pushed through holes called spinnerets, and it forms these long plastic threads. Those threads are stretched, cooled, and twisted into yarn. Then they add synthetic dyes and chemical treatments for color, softness, stretch, and quote-unquote performance. By the end, you have fabric made entirely of plastic with chemical coatings layered on top. And here's the problem. When you wear it, those plastic fibers shed. Microplastics and nanoplastics break off and absorb into the skin, and if you're sweating, even more. They carry hormone-disrupting chemicals, phthalates, BPA, and antimony. Your body absorbs them. They accumulate in your organs, your bloodstream, and your brain. And ladies, those polyester sports bras you're wearing during hot yoga or runs, they could be giving you the big C with a side of hormone disruption. Comment below what percentage of plastics that you're wearing. Let me know. I'd be curious.
On September 11th, 2001, New York City Police Department helicopters circled the Twin Towers, scanning the rooftops for survivors. From the ground, many believed those trapped above the fires could escape upward and wait for rescue. From the air, the roofs were completely empty. Pilots made repeated passes, lowering altitude when conditions allowed, checking both towers again and again. The result was always the same. The roof access doors were locked, and the fires below had already cut off every path upward. Anyone still alive was trapped inside the towers, far beneath the helicopters circling above. The footage from that mission remains one of the most haunting scenes from 9/11. Follow for more captured history.
Y'all, like, if that was an inside job, you know, to an insurance claim, you know, to start a 20-year war, like, this is what they think of us. This is what they think of us. They don't give a damn about us. And people are out in the streets protesting and fighting over who's wrong and who's right about that. In Minnesota, these crazy protest things, these things that just, at the end of the day, no protest, no us arguing, no then we don't have no control over it, y'all. But just imagine if that was an inside job. And then we saw a clip yesterday. I was telling you guys that we could have got bin Laden 10 days into the start of the war. These Delta Force dudes were clearing his mountains, village by village, going through. Right when they got to a certain point, they called to ceasefire. They had to fall back. Helicopters came in, took someone out. Okay, you guys can continue now. Found bin Laden 20 years later. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy, y'all. The games that they play and they keep us distracted with, and we fall hook, line, and sinker.
Is cloning real?
Of course it is.
People are being cloned?
For sure. I mean, why is it that if it's not real, why is it that we have an international law banning human cloning? Just saying. So you don't think that they have human clones running around in Hollywood, in politics?
They say Jamie Foxx was a clone.
They did say that. I mean, didn't he have a tattoo on his head and then it disappeared? It's kind of weird. And that was a real tattoo. It wasn't for a movie, and no, he had a tattoo, and
yeah, that tattoo disappeared.
It's gone.
He did have a tattoo.
I remember that tattoo in the
yeah.
It disappeared. Where'd it go? And then he does a movie called They Clone Tyrone.
And he did do that movie
about a government operation where they're infiltrating the hood and they're cloning people to perpetuate the lifestyle.
So they want to throw it in our face.
They always throw it in your face.
They have to. They have to.
You know why you don't see Lamborghini commercials? Someone asked that question. How come there's no Lamborghini commercials? You know what the owner of the Lamborghini company said? Yeah, our customers aren't sitting around watching TV. It really makes me think, what else are there not commercials for? And then it makes me think, obviously there's a lot, but it makes me think, like, we live in a different world. Like, us sitting around watching TV or scrolling all day, the people that are getting to it, they don't have the time to do that. And their advertisements are in different ways. It really shows that there's two different worlds. There's a world, there's tons of advertisements on TV. That's for the lower class. The TV, it was made for the lower class, for entertainment and for marketing and to tell you a vision. It wasn't made for anything else. Nothing. Even a TV series you watch is going to some way, somehow draw you into doing something through it. Like whether you're eating or drinking a certain thing because of the show, or whether you're living a certain lifestyle because of the way the show is.
If you have,
I remember I was at Flagstaff. I took my girl to Flagstaff. We went to eat at a little breakfast spot, Coco's, right? It's a little chain, kind of like a Denny's type of breakfast spot. And I remember in back of us, there was two older gentlemen, and I don't know if they were their grandsons, their kids, but their whole conversation was talking about investing. That's it. That's all they talked about, y'all. That's all they were talking about, investing. And in 401ks, talking about this. I've just invested in this. I'm doing like talking like that over breakfast, y'all. And then other conversations were about sports and, just that's that's the difference, y'all. That's the difference between generational wealth and all that is, I guess, the conversations you're having. It's okay to have conversations about sports and whatnot, but are you ever talking about those type of talks? And there were white gentlemen, right? There were older white gentlemen and two like young adults, and they were all talking about that. And it just tripped me out that I'm like, damn, like that conversation has never come up at my dinner table growing up or anything. But I know it's going to come up at my dinner table now when my kids are older. You know what I mean?
cravings, that means you have worms.
100%.
Yeah.
And salt cravings. So
Yeah.
some of the symptoms: craving sugar, craving salt,
Yeah,
eating
it's-
after 7 p.m.,
Oh, yeah.
insomnia. So you're up all night long. It's because they're nocturnal creatures. Your skin is a disaster. Really, that's a big one because they come out your skin, which is what happens to me specifically when I'm cleansing. They come out your skin. It really is detrimental to your health if you're not going in and like cleaning your soil.
Yeah.
That's really what this is.
It's crazy to think that a national pizza chain once ran a promotion so insane that it allegedly killed people. Domino's Pizza, back in the day, once had a 30 minutes or less guarantee, which means if your pizza didn't arrive in 30 minutes or less, it was free. So you had 19-year-old delivery guys driving like Vin Diesel, blowing red lights. And of course you had customers rigging the system, like removing their house numbers and turning off porch lights and not answering the door. And now you wonder why corporations are so terrified to do anything.
I would love to know what primary general care doctors actually study, because every single time I go to my primary doctor, he just sends me to another doctor. Huh? Why am I going to you for? You're just
And
a
you have
fucking
to.
middleman that's getting in the way and costing me money, by the way. I don't understand. I went to my primary doctor and I had a rash under my armpit. I thought it might have been the deodorant. Maybe it's my sweat. Maybe it's the Ambien. He's like, okay, go to the dermatologist. I'm like, okay, I'll go to the dermatologist. I went because I was having extreme headaches, migraines. And he's like, oh, where does it hurt? I'm like, my head, motherfucker. I just told you it's my head. He's like, okay, go to the neurologist. I get an MRI from the neurologist. I have to go to the neurologist again. I never have to talk to the primary care doctor about it. I have a nut pain. My nut hurts. I'm like, yeah, when I'm walking, sometimes my nut hurts. He's like, okay, go to the urologist. And I'm like, wait a second. Why the fuck do I come to you? Because every single time that I come to you, all the information that you give me is on fucking Google. There's no reason for me to talk to you. I could just call those motherfuckers like, no, you need a referral. I'm like, for what? What the fuck did you study in school? Are you one of those students in school that sucked at everything? You got a C, and that makes you a general fucking doctor because you don't know shit. So you just send the patients to, oh, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with you. Here's a doctor that might be able to help you because I don't know what the fuck is going on. All you do is take my temperature. You fucking do the ear thing. I don't even know what the fuck you're looking for. You look at my tongue. You never have anything to say. Nothing at all. I don't get it. I'm never going to a general practitioner doctor again. I'm going to Google what the fuck I got, and then I'm going to call the doctor that's related to that part of the fucking body. I'm not going to the general doctor. They generally don't know what the fuck is going on.
Did anybody hear about the deadly plane crash that happened in Maine on Sunday? It was reportedly carrying 8 people, but these 8 people aren't just anybody. First of all, I just want to point out something really creepy about this plane crash. As you can see, a moment before takeoff, a voice was eerily heard over the flight's radio communications saying, "Let there be light." What the fuck? And I'm not saying there's any connection here, but Tara Arnold was involved in the crash. She was involved in a very serious investigation involving 3 letters. She's also the wife of Kurt Arnold, who, as you can see, is very successful, including a $117 million single plaintiff personal injury verdict in Louisiana and a $44 million single amputation verdict in the United States. Arnold is the co-founder of Arnold and Icken LLP, which ironically, Kurt Arnold and Jason Icken were the only ones that weren't actually on the plane, making it, like it says here, one of the most prosperous plaintiff litigation firms in the nation. As for Jason Icken, who actually encouraged her to go on the plane, one of them includes an $8 billion, which some of you might have heard about, judgment against Johnson & Johnson. According to his firm's biography, Icken has also achieved unprecedented results at a $2.25 billion Roundup cancer verdict, as well as numerous other rewards and settlements exceeding $100 million, which I'll get to here in a second. This is the most predominant connection in all of this because he worked with Icken in the Deepwater Horizon explosion. His and Icken's clientele, like it says here, received exceptional settlements as a result of its unceasing efforts guaranteeing their long-term well-being. Kurt has been honored by the best lawyers in America for his exceptional work in both personal injury litigation and maritime and admiralty law. Kurt has also been listed by Law Dragon as one of America's top 500 lawyers, also one of its top 500 consumer plaintiff attorneys as well. I also just want to point out this, okay? Several other planes were taking off before the wreck. And as you can see in an updated report, the airport said that the jet that had crashed received de-icing services. I'm just saying, you have a good image. Imagine if it gets ruined by 3 letters. Even though it was sitting in the cold, one has to think to themselves, especially when you consider this. A preliminary NTSB report, which will contain information gathered during the team's initial investigation, will be available within 30 days. But a probable cause of the crash, along with the listing of contributing factors, will be released in a final report, which normally takes up to a year or more to complete. I'm obviously not going to be ignorant, but why would you want to fly in those conditions to begin with? But I do want to give condolences to the family members that are obviously affected by this horrific incident. This is very unfortunate, and regardless, I would not be out in that weather on any type of airplane.
So, what is going on, and why is there no building going on PCH except for this one project that I've been keeping you informed on? Well, it's way too expensive. We went up to the hills, if you guys have been watching, and we toured the home that was being built in the Palisades up in the hills. It's a 5,000 square foot home. And I said to the contractor, what did the foundation cost? Because his is on a slab. And he said $50,000. All right, that's $50,000. It's done in 3 days, and you can start building. This is $2.5 million, and it's going to take 6 months at least to do. So you haven't even started building your home. You're already into it, $2.5 million. And we're not talking about a 17-story skyscraper. We're talking about a single family dwelling. People say, so what? What's wrong? Safety. There's nothing wrong. What's wrong with safety? What if I just said, look, your car needs to be up to NASCAR standards. It needs to have a full roll cage and a fire suppression system. And we can't just have a fuel tank. We need a fuel tank with a bladder. We need real safety. We need nets in this car. We need everything. You go, well, what's wrong with that? That's safe. Yeah, I know. But a Prius would be $175,000. So it's not. It's not practical, is what I'm saying. Yes, it's safer. It's safer. It'd be safer to drive a car with a helmet on than a full roll cage and a fire suppression system. It would be safer, except for it's not realistic and it's burdensome. And then what do you end up with? Well, people aren't going to buy Prius because it's too expensive. What's going on in LA? We don't have housing. We don't have enough housing. We don't have affordable housing. Why don't we have it? It's too cost prohibitive. That's what's going on. The people who don't pay for it have made it way too expensive for the people who do pay for it. And that's why you can't build in Los Angeles.
You know who I think Joe Rogan's handler is? Is Mike Baker. There's this CIA asset.
Say, this guy was president from...
Say. There's this former CIA asset named Mike Baker who's always on Joe's show. And anytime something like in the news is going on, Mike Baker comes on to blame everything on Russia and China. Like anytime people are mad at Trump, he says, oh, well, this is actually Russia and China doing this and people are blaming Trump. But he just diverts people's attention to U.S. enemy states. I think that guy's his handler. Or, you know, even if Joe isn't compromised knowingly, they have these people around him like Mike Baker, like Peter Thiel, who are controlling him basically because he's so stupid. Like, I'm sorry, Joe, but especially as you get older, you are such a dense, like 8-brained toddler. I'm sorry, but it's true.
I think they can just manipulate him. I don't even think he, has to agree to being compromised. I think Peter Thiel just invites him over for dinner, and Joe's like, well, actually, he was really nice to me.
80% of Nevada is free to use, free to access. You don't have to pay anything. You go out there, do what you need to do. Nevada is 80% public land between BLM, which is the Bureau of Land Management, and National Forest Land.
So what does that mean for people? I know you always talk about the fencing.
Yes. So Nevada is what's called a fence out state. So if you are on any sort of public land where, say you drove out on a dirt road that you've maybe never been on before, and you don't see a fence line, that's public land unless stated or posted otherwise. You cannot be in trouble for trespassing on land that isn't fenced.
Where is the mob today?
It's not what it was in the 70s.
It's richer now than ever because they're in
Yeah.
legitimate business. They're not doing the street stuff. They're not doing what John was doing. He was called in so many times. John, this is a secret organization. He loved the camera, and so did Spilatro. I think the damage those two people did destroyed the mob as we knew it. And fortunately, they got into legitimate business. And that was all done by Maya Lansky and Frank Costello.
Your father lived to 103. What did he eat and what was his secret? My dad was a big eater. My dad, from the time we were kids, he believed in vitamins. When we were kids, he used to chase us around the house with cod liver oil. When he went to prison, his big thing, Mike, you got to get me vitamins. I said, Dad, they don't want to give them to you in here. Do you want me to smuggle them in? No, don't do that. You'll get me in trouble. I said, oh, what do you want me to do? He wanted his vitamins. When he was home, he would take 30 pills a day. But he lived to 103, so there must have been something to it.
Okay, I'm at a thrift store, and there's these free books out here, and look what I found. The Bearstein Bears. I still think it's the Bearstein Bears. I literally...
Okay, I'm going to 100% prove and explain to you how the Mandela Effect works and why we've all experienced this and why it's so shocking. So look at this. You remember Pikachu? Didn't he have that black spot on his tail? Nope. Go try to find a picture of him with a black spot on his tail. There's no black spot. Looney Tunes. Wasn't it Tunes with two O's? Nope. It's apparently always been Tunes. Chick-fil-A? You thought that it was Chick, C-H-I-C. Nope. C-H-I-C-K. Fruit of the Loom. Wasn't there a cornucopia? Nope. Okay, why are we all collectively remembering this wrongly? And I'll tell you how it works. My brother says to me, he has an old VHS of Star Wars A New Hope when Darth Vader says, Luke, I am your father. But if you rewatch the tape, he now says, no, I am your father. He does not say, Luke, I am your father. So he said, how the hell is that possible? Because I have this tape, I remember it, and the tape never went anywhere. It's a VHS. It's not, no one changed it. I said, you got it all wrong. It's not that they went back and changed this stuff. It's that growing up, we were on a timeline where this is how all these things were. And by the way, there's a million other Mandela effects. This is only a few. And there's some that I bet we haven't even realized yet. Like the Monopoly guy has a monocle. Remember he had a monocle, one glass? He doesn't have one anymore. Check your old 30-year-old freaking Monopoly games. He doesn't have one. So it's not that they're going and changing these things and editing old tapes. It's that we are on a different timeline now, which I know is kind of a strange thought, but time, keep in mind, it's not linear, right? Like it's the past, the present, the future all exist at the same time. So it's not that they're changing things and trolling you. It's that we were on one timeline where Curious George had a tail, and now he doesn't have a tail. Go look at all your old pictures, anything you can. He doesn't have one anymore. We are on a different timeline. What that means is, I don't really fully know. I just know that things are different now than the exact same timeline that we were growing up with. And one of the craziest Mandela effects is actually on the Mona Lisa, which many grandparents of ours and our parents even remember her having a slight smile on her face. But now she looks more, not smiley. So it extends further than just modern pop culture and junk food and stuff. It could be even bigger than we imagine. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow for more.
Amazon, they make you buy the vehicle from them. Yeah. They make the contract, they make the drivers wear their uniforms.
They make you buy the vehicle from Amazon.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You have to lease the vehicle from Amazon.
Okay.
You have to follow the policies and procedures that Amazon puts forward. You have to wear the uniform. You have to basically do everything they tell you, but you're not getting a W-2 from Amazon. You're getting the 1099 from wherever it's coming from. XYZ, yeah, whatever that LLC is at that time. And it's just a scam to keep the union out.
What's the worst financial decision you see 20, 30-year-olds make?
Not setting up a Roth IRA. You could be a millionaire from this. It's a retirement account where you could invest money after tax. And by the time you're 65, all that profit you make within the account is tax-free. But the goal is that when you're young and doing that, you have 40 years of compound interest, where all of a sudden that $800 you invest could be worth $5,000. It takes 10 minutes to set up an account. Once you see it growing, you'll just become addicted to it.
Where else did you go?
In El Salvador, I'm the first ever American to do it.
How was it in there?
And you look at the prisoners in their eyes, they're completely empty. We're going to ask the guys to take off their shirts so you can see all their tattoos. And so I get like pretty close to almost face to face with one of these guys. I'm like, are you still proud to be a gangster? He's like, yeah. Those guys, they have no darkness. It's always lit up in that room. It's just like a Costco, essentially, with prison cells. And the lights stay on 24/7. They eat the same meal every single day. They get no protein. You start walking around there and you just feel like literally nothing. Whatever had possessed them had taken control and they had been defeated. And they just look at you with this blank stare of just like nothingness. Like you look into their eyes and nothing. The moment you walk in there, you just feel like any sense of goodness in your body just leave, and your body is just filled with emptiness.
Most people have lost touch with thirst and they don't know.
Okay.
The animals know that in the morning they got to go to the water and they got to find the salt lick, that's electrolytes. And they know that in the middle of the day, they're probably not going to go out. They're going to go back at sunset and do it again because they feel their thirst.
If you go to McDonald's anywhere in the world, you will find French fries, or chips, as you call them, and you will find that they're always made from the same potato, the russet Burbank potato. This is a potato from America that's unusually long and difficult to grow, but that's what they want, because when you're McDonald's, you like those red boxes with a little bouquet of very long chips. It looks really good. And so they insist that all their potatoes be russet Burbanks. And they further insist that they have no blemishes at all. Net necrosis. And you've seen potatoes with a little brown line sometimes, or spots that come through it. Well, McDonald's won't buy them if your potatoes have that. And the only way to eliminate that is to eliminate an aphid. And the only way to do that is with a pesticide called Monitor that is so toxic that the farmers who grow these potatoes in Idaho won't venture outside into their fields for 5 days after they spray. When they harvest their potatoes, they have to put them in these atmosphere-controlled sheds the size of a football stadium because they're not edible for 6 weeks. They have to off-gas all the chemicals in them.
So taking care of you is your responsibility. I read
Crazy.
those books and started
And they feed us
practicing,
that.
and I thought, oh my gosh, this is it. And that's when I began to understand the importance of knowledge. Let food be thy medicine, and medicine be thy food.
Well, I want to hear your hot take on the pyramids.
They were built with frequency. Like those stones were literally picked up with levitated. Like they still, I don't know why this isn't even publicized, but there were dishes, right, round massive sized bowls discovered all around the perimeter of the pyramid, in which, you know, I love this study of this guy who he went, I don't know if he had cancer. I don't know what it was, but he essentially, this was in the early 1900s, so like 1920s era. He went over to Tibet or to India, somewhere in East Asia, and he got footage of them because he was embraced by them because to fix his sickness or something like that. And he was embraced by them, and they trusted him enough to show them this process of how they pick these massive cylinders up, and they would have yaks drag the blocks over these big bowls, and then they would point giant horns and huge drums. Like all the sound was focused, you know, maybe in like a half cylinder like this towards this one point, and they would play it and they would chant and they would hum.
All right, family. There you have today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. You know what to do. You made it this far. Now you can leave that like, comment, subscribe. But I appreciate everyone that leaves it in the beginning, y'all. I really appreciate you guys. But like I always say, watching it from start to finish, that's where the growth really comes from. So I appreciate everyone that's stuck around and that is here. Let's get into the logo, y'all. The logo thing. I got a lot of feedback on that I was expecting, right? I didn't create that. I sent it to the guy that makes my thumbnail. He doesn't know what to put, what not to put. I just told him, you know, put Segovia Reacts, some color, and give it a conspiracy vibe, right? That's what he did. So I fixed it, and instead of the pyramid with the eye in it, I just did a UFO, which looks cool because it's like somebody pointed out, it looks like, you know, it's an A instead of a, you know, a O for my name, right? So, you know, the UFO thing's there, but I got to figure out how to, you know, get it printed and all that. I'll probably have to do a couple and get them sent to me and make sure the quality's good and all that. So working on it, y'all. But I appreciate it. A lot of you guys were happy with it. You know, I'll be rocking it. I think it looks dope. I think the colors on the black hat will look dope. So, you know, I'm looking forward to that. But not much going on today, y'all. It's Sunday. This week flew by. It's already, or Saturday. It's already the end of the month, y'all. This month flew by, y'all. So yesterday I washed the cars. I didn't do a video yesterday. I got out there, washed all the cars. And, you know, today my allergies are acting up, if you guys can't tell. So I'm just going to relax today, eat some good food. And, you know, that's the plan. So I hope everyone out there has a good day, y'all. I'm going to get this video edited out to you guys. This is Segovia signing out of the Man Cave. I'm going to see you guys on the next one. Later.